Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Michelle. I'm with Olive and 2U Studios. Typically, a new video is every single Saturday morning right here on the channel. Very often it's live, sometimes it's recorded, but I invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications, and that way you know every single time that we are on the channel, so you can find out about all the things happening with Olive and 2U Studios. Very excited to be here today to talk to you about number one, a discount. We have a sale going on right now in the Olive and 2U Studios shop. You can look down below in the show notes and catch all the details. But basically, did you know that plum is like the trending fall color for 2025? It's plum and purple and shades of deeper pinks and all those kinds of fun colors that are actually trending for 2025 for the autumn season. That was brand new news to me. So what we did, we put together a very special collection of many of our sort of jammy, plummy fall shades for you. So spend $60 or more out of that collection and use a code down below. It's fall, FALL, the number 4, plum, PLUM, all capital letters, until Sunday night. That's tomorrow night. Let's see, that would be November 23rd, and get 30% off of your purchase from that special collection. So all the details are down below this morning. If you happen to be subscribed to our newsletter, all of the details are also in our newsletter. And if you're not subscribed, I really encourage you to do that. You can do it just by going to our website. Again, the link is down below, and you can go ahead and subscribe there. There's a pop-up that will come up that will invite you to subscribe both through our emails and our text messages. Our text message subscribers periodically get special discounts and more goodies than even our email subscribers. So I highly recommend you subscribe to both, and that way you are in the loop for all the things and to save a few dollars. So very excited about that collection. Our Yarny Ewes, which is a Facebook group that we run, the folks in there love the plum and the purple colors, and we've got so many of them. Some of the ones that are coming to mind are Gilbert Grape, Pixie Plum. There's just so many fun sort of purple colors. So if you are oriented towards loving purple, this is definitely the sale for you. So it is limited, so I recommend you get right on it immediately. The other thing that is happening right now is that as we are getting close to the end of 2025, all eyes are on 2026. And our birthday clubs are very, very popular. And right now is a great time to go ahead and order your birthday club. So I want to explain a little bit about how that works. Essentially what it is you choose your birthday month. You select the base, the yarn base that you prefer. We've got Rawlings, we've got Twain, and some DK bases, or at least one DK base. You choose the yarn base that you love. You tell us if you want 1 or 2 hanks. And then what we do is formulate a birthday colorway for that month. And we send it to you along with a coordinating mini in the proper weight, plus extra little birthday gifts and surprises along the way. We even have a special birthday bag that we send it in. We wrap it all up, so when it comes to you, you get to be surprised. It is a great set it and forget it way to celebrate your birthday on your own, or a lot of folks actually order it for Fiberista best friends, right? So if you've got fiber besties and you want to help them celebrate their birthday with beautiful yarn, this is definitely the way to do it. So also in the newsletter this week, you'll find the birthday club link right there for you. And if you didn't get in on the newsletter, if you just go to our website and search birthday, it'll pop right up for you. So a lot of fun things happening there in the shop this week. Now, we've got more to get to in terms of what's happening in the shop, but I just want to tell you, our Sankaku is in its 3rd week, and it has been so much fun. I'm sorry, our Sankaku knit along. It's been so much fun seeing everybody's projects. We've got some finished projects. We've got some that are actually in process, and some folks who are just casting on. Actually, We even have some folks who are casting on their second or third Sankaku because it's such a super fast pattern. Now, down below in the show notes, you'll see the link to the pattern. So I really encourage you to check it out. It's by Dando. And if you haven't already done it, it's a great way to get involved in mosaic knitting. So what I want to do right now is head over to our whip segment. Let's take a look at some of those whips, including not just the Sankaku, but some other whips that you all have been working on, okay? All right, let's see what we have happening here. I know I've got one BBT. Tracy Ann finished up her BBT and she striped it. And I love the colors that she chose on this. This is her beautifully basic tee. If you're not spending a lot of time with the Yarny Ewes and Olive and 2U, you might be a little confused when we talk about the BBT, but it's the beautifully basic tee. Well done, Tracy. All right, Jamie's got 2 caps done by Hillary Latimer. And look at those. Again, beautiful color selections. These are both cabled patterns, and she did a great job on those. I wonder if those are holiday gifts by any chance. Next up, Mary St. John Nielsen. She just said that there was definitely some knitting going on. She's actually on a trip right now over in Europe, and she was in Tuscany a few days ago and knitting over there. Look at that gorgeous sky and the field below. Just beautiful. What a great place to knit. Next up, Lorianne Mead. She's been doing some Harry Potter knitting. In this particular photo, she says Ravenclaw is now done. She had Slytherin and Gryffindor to finish up. So I suspect those are for holiday gifts as well. Those look great, Lori. All right, Tammy Smith working on some Christmas socks. Look at those. So this is the Arnie and Carlos Christmas stocking knit along. And that is so colorful. I love those traditional Christmas colors happening in that. All right, Katrin Pate, at this point, which was a few days ago, she said she was almost finished with the mosaic section. Now, this is definitely a Sankaku. Katrin is part of the Sankaku knit along, and she was on the knit night this past week. We do a virtual stitch night periodically, and she was sharing those colors, and they look so good together. She did a great job picking out that kit. Becky Brown, she finished up her Sankaku, so now you can see the full pattern here. At this time, it was ready to be blocked, and she thought it was a really fun knit project. I wonder if she'll be doing another one. I know some are. Karen Smith finished up a cow, finished the No Rhinebeck and No Problem 5 cow. So she used 2 Olive and 2U colors in that. I love how that pattern sort of reversed in terms of the colors. That adds some additional visual interest. That's always so much fun. Karen Sobel. So she was working on the Stephen West mystery knit along, and she used the Twain yarn, and it was one of the main kits that we had done, one of the main boxes when I first moved to Maine. So she was in the process of this. She said almost done with Clue 2, and she started a month late. So she has definitely been knitting up a storm to get that far. And then Faith, she was working on an Adriana sweater in Tolkien DK. That is so pretty. I love those colors together as well. Beautiful, beautiful items. All right. So speaking of the Sankaku knit along, if you haven't already noticed, the week 3 video, which is the final support video, has been completed and it's up on the channel. It's right here on the channel. You can also look at a playlist. We set up a playlist so you can see all 3 videos for those support videos. Mary Nielsen of M&M So Charming was my sidekick for that. In fact, she did most of the heavy lifting for those videos. She's got great tips and tricks for the Sankaku pattern, including in video 1, a great cast on trick because it is a rather formidable cast on in terms of stitches. I think it's 241 stitches maybe, which is a lot. She's got some great tips and tricks for that. Talks a bit about the mosaic knitting then in the first video, moves on then to the second video, and then the final video has now been posted. So if you were waiting for those, they are all there now. You can watch them one at a time, or you can go back and watch them, all the way through if you'd like to get kind of a really nice high level overview of the pattern. That's a great way to do that. And speaking of patterns, one of the things that Monica actually did for you this week is in our newsletter, provided a couple beautiful patterns for mittens. We've kind of been on this trek thinking about gift giving and quick projects in order to get them kind of stitched up and ready for the holidays. So you've got a knitting mitten pattern. Let's see if I can say that 3 times fast. A knitting mitten pattern available to you. And then you also, and those are the field mittens. And then there's also a crochet pattern available to you. I know your crocheters always cheer when we offer a crochet pattern as well. And that is the winter wheat stitch mittens. Those are by Brianna Kepner of Brianna K Designs. So there are 2 patterns for you available. The links are available. They're suggested patterns. They're not necessarily free patterns. Sometimes they are. I don't think these are, but these are great patterns. And then we have curated a collection of yarn that's appropriate for both of them to make it really easy to get busy on your holiday knitting. So that's good to keep in mind as well. And speaking of colors, there is no shortage of colors in the Olive and To shop right now. I mentioned earlier about sort of those plum and purple shades that are so hot for fall, but there are so many other beautiful colors in the shop right now. In fact, I'm sitting here staring at these 2 from last week. Well, one's from last week and one's from the week before. Let me tuck my ends in because I had to reskein this one by hand. And if you've been watching very long, you know, I don't always do the best job of that. So I'm going to try to blow it up a little bit before I show it off. So this is Cabin Cocoa that we showed last week, full of those rich autumnal shades and kind of going along with the theme for this week in terms of those plum shades. This actually has some pops of kind of a plummy cranberry in it. The light's not great, so you're not seeing that super well. But there are some plummy shades in here with those cranberries. Cabin Cocoa goes really well with pecan or pecan, which is this beautiful cool brown right here. It's a tonal solid that goes really nicely with Cabin Cocoa. Now, I'm just here to tell you, I fell in love with this color that Sherry and Terry dyed up for us. And I have 10 hanks of this coming to me in a worsted weight on our Shelly because I have a sweater that I plan to knit up in this. And then I also have a hank of it coming to me in Bronte and one in a DK weight for a quick little cowl that I plan to knit up as well. So I'm a little smitten by this color to have ordered, let's see, that's a total of 12 hanks of it. That's a lot of yarn, but it is a perfect brown. I tend to need to wear cooler shades, and a lot of browns are really warm. So our Papa Bear in the shop also is a similar brown, but it's a warm brown, and this is a cool brown. So if you know, it's all about knowing sort of what shades work best with your skin tone. I know we've got some Yarny Ewes who are firmly on the bus of you wear whatever color you want. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do that sometimes too. Like orange is not a cool color, let's face it. And yet I wear orange sometimes. But if you're looking for a cool brown, this is your color. So Cabin Cocoa and then pecan or pecan, that's that brown, are both in the shop right now as well. And there's actually a link down below to purchase those also. So there are tons of colors in the shop right now. You can always find something that suits you, that's perfect for your next project. And speaking of wearing colors that maybe aren't in your temperature range, my Beautifully Basic tee, I don't know, is this number 7 or number 8? I've knit so many of them. This is in a color, this is in Buttered Toffee, which is not a cool color. I'm going to show you my progress. I'm moving right along. Let's see. Got some progress done there. Look at that. So moving right along on this as well. And I've got about another, oh, I don't know, 7 inches to go probably, but it's moving kind of quick now to get down. This will be a long sleeve version again, because in the climate that I live in now, I really need sort of that extra coverage. So this is my next BBT. it might be my last BBT. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But this is not in a cool color at all. This is obviously a warm color. Oh, as I'm looking at it, I'm liking it with this color too. All the color combinations. So that is one of my sort of in progress projects right now. I have another project that I'm working on too that is, as I like to call, fiber adjacent. So I have been loving, and I don't know about you, I've been loving all of the felt garlands and wreaths and even the felt ornaments and things that I've been seeing out there in the landscape, sort of the run up to the holidays. And I was at a store here in Maine recently and fell in love with them when my friend Jennifer was here. We both did. And I looked at it. And how many times have you done the same thing? I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I could make that. Now, I don't fall into the trap of saying I could make that for less, because let's face it, it's not always about the cheapest, materials that you want to use. It's about quality. And so I don't typically fall into the, oh, I could make that for cheaper, because I like to pay people what they're worth in terms of their effort. And I like quality materials, but I could definitely do it and have fun. And one of the things that I love about making my own things, whether it's knitting a sweater or a shawl or sewing something on the sewing machine or making something with felt or painting or whatever craft you do, let's face it, we're mostly all multi-craftual, as I like to say, is that you get to customize it. You get to customize it for your colors, for your textures, and for your materials. So I've begun this process of cutting out these leaves for either a garland or a wreath. I haven't really decided. At first I was thinking a garland, but now I'm kind of leaning maybe towards a wreath. You can't tell what colors I like, can you, by what I'm wearing today and the colors that I've chosen for this. So I've been having a lot of fun cutting out these leaves. Somebody pointed out, well, you have a Cricut. You could have used your Cricut. I could have, but I decided to do it manually because it is meditative and kind of fun. But one of the twists that I added to this that I thought would be super fun was adding some fabric that might be unexpected. When we were in Scotland this last fall, we did a slow stitching workshop, and Sue, our instructor, had these packets of all these really fun tartan offcuts, these little scraps of wool tartan fabric. And I fell in love with them. I kind of went overboard purchasing them. I don't know. Can you ever go overboard purchasing craft supplies? I don't think so. But I bought a lot of them. And so when I was playing with my wool felt for this project, I thought, how fun would it be to have just a few bits of plaid kind of peeking out a little bit, just as an unexpected surprise. So I went ahead and cut out some of these. So I've just got a couple so far, some tweeds and one of the tartans, and I might just leave it. I've got a few of these. I might just leave it at that. I don't want to overdo it. I think that having a couple sort of unexpected textures and unexpected colors will add interest, but I don't want to do it overboard. So that's what I'm thinking I'm going to be doing with this. And it's been a lot of fun kind of playing with these colors. I have some cream colored wool felt on its way to me that I think, I'm going to see how I like it, but I think would add a nice pop of lightness to these. I do have some of these sort of beiges and grays in here, but I'm thinking maybe a little bit of cream just to kind of make it pop. We'll see. Once it gets here, I'll cut out some leaves and see what I think. I have got a ton of these already cut out. Depending on how long you want your garland or how full you want your wreath is, kind of dictates how many of these leaves you cut out. So I simply just made a template and then worked my template to cut them out. Excuse me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. So I've been doing my knitting on the couch in the evening. I've been working on my wool felt. I've been eating some Christmas candy, dark chocolate peppermint bark. Who doesn't love that? Are y'all eating Christmas candy yet? I went through my first pack and bought a second pack yesterday. And Jim, my husband, was like, really? You're buying more? I'm like, yeah, we're like, haven't even gotten that close to Christmas yet. So, drinking hot cocoa and eating all the Christmas candy. And I've started Christmas decorating a little bit, which is really early, even for me. But Jennifer, when she was here, we were talking about that. Can you tell I had a lot of fun when she was here? We were talking about that, and she was telling me about a friend of hers that put up her Christmas directions long before Thanksgiving. And apparently there were people who were kind of making comments about it, not necessarily ugly comments, but saying things about, wow, that's really early to be putting up your Christmas decorations. And she made the comment that Thanksgiving turkey was going to taste great under those Christmas lights and with the Christmas tree visible. And I thought, that's awesome. Do whatever brings you joy. I mean, obviously, as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else. But the idea of going ahead and putting up Christmas decorations, I like it. I think it's a smart thing to do. So I'm slowly getting my husband kind of moving in that direction. He's not really hip on it because we're Episcopalian and traditionally we don't put up Christmas decorations apparently until Christmas Day, or Christmas Eve. But yeah, I think we're moving in that direction. I've already started just a little bit. I'd love to know down in the comments what you've done so far with your holiday decorations, whether you've done doing Hanukkah or doing Christmas, what you're doing for your holiday decorations this year, and if you have already begun that. So curious about that for sure. So a couple things in the Yarny Ewes Facebook group. If you haven't already joined, I highly encourage you to do that. I try to go live in there on Thursdays. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. But this past Thursday, we had a little chat in my kitchen where I talked a little bit about 2026, what's on the horizon. And I also talked about a possible upcoming trip to Scotland again. If we do a trip in 2026, this will be our 4th tour that we've customized and taken folks over to Scotland. And this next one could be a really exciting one. We are working very hard on getting a trip together for Shetland. A lot of you have expressed interest in going to Shetland even before I mentioned it and said, hey, if you go to Scotland again, have you ever thought about Shetland? And Shetland is a great place to visit. It's off the mainland. It's logistically a little bit more challenging, but can absolutely be done. So we're working with CIE, who is the tour company that we have exclusively worked with in the past for these tours, to put together this trip to Shetland. If you are familiar with our trips to Scotland at all, you know that we typically take about 30 people. The trips typically last about 10 days. This trip, because of the logistical challenges and because of the limited accommodation on Shetland, and for all sorts of reasons, we plan to limit this trip to more like the 15 to 19 person range, keeping it nice and intimate and a really nice manageable size. So we have put out a wait list for this trip. I mentioned it on Thursday in the Yarny Ewes, which is one of those reasons it's nice to be in the Yarny Ewes. You kind of get first dibs on things. And our wait list is well over half full, already full. And that was just from Thursday. So if you are interested in going on our Shetland trip, you're not committed by putting your name on the wait list. This just means that you're going to get, the information quickly and you've kind of got your space there if you want it. If you are interested, send me an email, michelle@oliveandtwoyou.com. You can check down below in the show notes for my email address, or also just click the tab to send a message on our website and let me know that you want to go on the trip to Shetland with us and put your name on the wait list. It's also helpful if you can tell me if you'll be traveling alone or if you have a spouse or a friend that might be traveling with you, just for count purposes and for space issues, for space kind of holding purposes. So let me know how many in your party are interested in going. Again, this doesn't commit you, gives us an idea of who's interested, kind of gets you first dibs on it. I'll make sure to keep you posted when the information becomes available. Now, this trip is not a guaranteed trip. We don't know 100% that we're going to be able to get over there in 2026 because accommodations are so limited. Many times they're booked up well in advance, and that could be the wrinkle in our plan. But if you get your name on the list, we'll keep you posted and let you know, and look forward to a great trip potentially to Shetland. We would spend the bulk of our time in Scotland for this trip in Shetland, though we would be also visiting Edinburgh and some other places. But we try to keep it pretty condensed so we're not moving hotels every night. That gets really exhausting. And I'm of an age that I'm not interested in moving hotels every night. So we try to keep it as simple as possible. We also build in some downtime. I am, again, not of the mind that when you go on a trip, you have to be running every moment. There are some tours where you need to have like your suitcase out the door at 6:30 or 7 a.m. and you don't get back to the hotel till 8 p.m. I can't do that. I don't expect you to do that. So we're going to make sure and build in some downtime in the trip to Shetland if it happens. Crossing fingers. Very excited about that. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And as I shared with the Yarny Ewes this past week in the group, as we move into 2026, you're going to detect some differences in Olive and 2U Studios in terms of sort of how our months are structured and how things look. Still going to have fantastic yarn, still going to have awesome events and things like that. I'm working on some possible retreats, some trips and those sorts of things. And then having a theme that kind of runs through the entire year to sort of bind everything together in a way that makes really good sense. I've got some great ideas on the horizon for fun new products and things that we'll be doing next year. And to say I'm excited about the future is an understatement. There are great things happening in 2026, but you're definitely going to be seeing some shifts. And I'm looking forward to that. And I think you're really going to enjoy it as well. One of the things that won't change is our relationship with Fiberside Chats from Longmont Yarn Shop out in Colorado. Speaking of Fiberside Chats, there is one scheduled for tomorrow, for Sunday, which is the 23rd of November. It is Allie Pate. She has road trip sock yarn. Yes, I'm looking at my notes, so I remember. She's going to be talking about how she started falling in love with dyeing yarn and then also her work with nonprofits. She sort of marries those two things together, the beautiful dyed yarn and then nonprofit work. And the Fiberside Chat tomorrow is going to be all about that. So you'll get to know her a little bit better and more about her process and how she supports others, which I think is fantastic. I love that so very much. So today is a slightly shorter podcast potentially. And the reason it's recorded is because I've got some sewing on the horizon today, possibly with a group from my church. And so I'm looking forward to that. I had a little struggle this morning with my featherweight sewing machines. It's been a while since I've played with them. And so I had to remember something about the bobbin case. And I was like, oh, I don't know if it's all going to work out, but it did. I got it all working. And so I'm really excited to sit down at the sewing machine a little bit today. But whatever you're doing, if you're holiday shopping or planning, if you're knitting, if you're crocheting, if you're sewing, if you're crafting, if you're just spending time with friends and relaxing, I wish you the very best day. Be sure to check out our website. All the links are down below. And as always, let us know if we can help in any way. We're always happy to do that. Again, my name's Michelle. I'm with Olive and 2U Studios. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the Yarny Ewes. Take care. Bye-bye.